today picking up the pieces and trying to fix some problems in the aftermath of yesterday, and hopefully we're taking a step in that direction. These are kids, and and I got to do a better job of getting them ready to play a game like we played last night. They were far more hungrier to play, and that's my responsibility to manufacture the necessary intensity, and there are a lot of indicators that prove that I didn't do my job to get our guys in a place where we're making free throws and we're taking quality shots and we're making shots when we're open, and all the things that we've been doing on many occasions when we've been successful this year. So that was the focus of today, and that being said, a little more reflection on yesterday. I was extremely disappointed with our turnout at the game last night. Having looked back on it, to see that type of student turnout after the Arizona win, and then being second in the conference and being squarely into the NCAA tournament picture, but prior to last night's game, to have that type of lifeless crowd and low student turnout for a school that has this many students was very disappointing. So hoping that we could play a little better and maybe inspire a few more people to want to show up to watch our team play. So I thought it was a dreadful environment, and our players played exactly the way the crowd performed in that game last night.
Did you really? So the early start, do you think that contributed to the crowd and/or just your
I don't
start?
know. We have a lot of students, and it was packed for the Arizona game on a Thursday night, and there are so many students that there have to be enough to get more than 700. Is that the number? So very, very low response to a team that again is having a winning season, a successful season, a team that's in a position to go to postseason. It's important to have a good crowd and to have a crowd that's behind you when you're doing well. And I believe we had won 4 out of 5, and we're playing pretty good going into last night's game.
Do you believe that the loss yesterday puts even more pressure on you guys to come back now and win on Saturday against a quality opponent?
Well, I mean, we didn't look like a good team at all like last night. In the film, it actually looked worse, and so there's a lot of things to repair in a short amount of time, and the psyche and the mental outlook of the team right now is a concern because of just how we were throttled in that game. So thinking about anything more than today getting better and tomorrow is just pointless at this point.
You're a high energy type of a guy naturally, and I know there was the story about what you did to get the team psyched up for Arizona. So when you say that that maybe the energy wasn't good with the players, when that's something that maybe you tend to do a lot, what does that just kind of say, or how does that exactly happen? Because they know by now what you want from them.
Yeah, I have to create an edge, in games like that, and I don't think I did a good enough job of creating an angle or an edge to, against a team that hadn't had a lot of success in the league and is having a losing season. Especially with the Washington game, looming after. It's always human nature to, for especially young guys to look maybe past something, and they might be giving you the right signals, but it is my job to get them just jumping out of their skin to play, and I didn't see that, and that's my fault for not engineering that or generating that.
Is it? Should that be something that when the culture is set the way that you want it, is self-sustaining with players to some degree as leaders?
I mean, we're taking steps hopefully to build something, and building on what we did last year. We came out and we've had some big wins again, and we're having a better record this year in conference than we had last year. But here's the crowd. Well, the Pac-12's down, so you should be 6-4 or whatever your record is. But we are making strides in that department. But again, it's I have to be who I am, and I have to provide the spark and the fire, and I didn't I didn't ignite the team to perform the way we should perform in a game like that. I'll look back on that game and be very disappointed with how I approached this game and what I did for my team to give them a chance to win.
So just get back to the crowd part of it. Do you feel like that where you guys are as a program in year 4, that regardless of opponent, regardless of tip-off time, there should be certain constants, certain things in place when you guys take the court?
As long as we're continuing to give you a reason to show up, I think you should. I like if 6,000 students are willing to download tickets and 3,000 is our student total, then that means that there were 3,000 that couldn't even get in the game. Now it's Thursday night again. It's a week later. We just beat Arizona, our rival, and we have won a bunch of games, and we're sitting again in a great position in the league. So I feel like there should have been more of a motivating factor to show up and support us. Now, if you don't want to come on Saturday, like I get it. I mean, we were bad on Thursday. So if you don't feel like you want to watch that again, then I understand it, because it was hard to watch. Last night it was hard to watch multiple times again. So I completely would get why people may not want to show up on Saturday now. But we gave no one a reason prior to last night to not show up for last night's game, based on just recent results and where we stand in the conference.
Did you notice that from the get-go?
When I walked out, I was like completely like, wow, this is what we got tonight. Just saw, the whole upper tier was empty right behind the students. Even our, the other areas of the crowd were just, 50-50 open and filled. So I just thought it was a flat environment.
You correctly predicted on Tuesday that defending the three-point line was going to be a key with Washington State. And obviously that's what you guys talked about in practices for the last week. So is that more of the emotional thing that you're talking about, or was there just some schematic things or execution things that just didn't happen the way they should have?
It's a little bit of everything. We were not in great positions. We didn't give extra energy to be in the right position. So then we were chasing the basketball. There was a play that I remember that stood out for me is we had a decent possession and they missed, and the ball was deflected into the backcourt in the first half. The guy from Washington State had to go chase the ball down in the backcourt. That takes 2 to 3 seconds. Then he retrieves the basketball and then takes one dribble and throws it ahead to the left wing to Franks, and he shoots basically an uncontested 3 as Remy is run out. There's no excuse for all that to happen and you not to be able to get to one of the best players in the conference that's, by the way, like hitting every shot on you. So when things like that are going on, it's a combination of effort, and it's a combination of not doing your job and us not teaching things that we feel like we're going over in scouting. We're not getting through to our players.
Your closeouts, it seemed like guys went out and got a hand up, but it's hard to tell just watching it if they're going full energy. Are they giving the energy there that you expect that they should be?
Some of them are good, some of them are bad. I mean, some of them, Ellerby hit one that I think on Lou that I mean you could live with, just because I don't know much more he could have done. There were a few other examples of that, but there were far too many others where they were shooting wide open shots too, or just mild pressure, which doesn't make a guy feel uncomfortable as he's getting into the rhythm of the shot.
Do you count like how many open looks opponents get? Or do you guys track that? Do you monitor that? Or what you would consider an open look?
Yeah, I mean, I don't specifically do that. I mean, when we address it in film, we watch it and point it out, but it's not like a point that we're saying, hey, we can't leave a shooter open X amount of times.
Do you have an update on Romello?
Yeah, Romello, he went through parts of practice today, and he was moving fairly well. He was, he had an MRI and this morning, and everything cleared perfectly, and so he's day to day, and we'll see how he feels after he goes through shoot around tomorrow.
You mentioned earlier just about psyche or confidence of the team after something like that. So, in consideration of what you're talking about, like how do you get them prepared for tomorrow and the stretch?
I mean, I just, we're very honest. I think you got to be honest, and you got to be upfront, and you got to confront everything. And we just, this is a gut check time now. It's just time to see what you got. We looked at the film. It's not pretty. We spent a lot of time watching it, going over it, and so there's some tough moments in the locker room, and then we went to the floor and we got some work in too. So that's really all you could do.
What was your sense today in practice? They were angry, they were embarrassed. What was the mentality of your team coming in today?
I mean, you could see that there are guys that it means a lot to, and you could feel the frustration and the disappointment that we allowed that to happen. And so you hope that they can make a stand.
I assume Frank's is at the top of the scouting report when you prepare for Washington State.
Top,
I mean,
middle,
would you
bottom?
think he'd be any lower than that, or where did you think?
No,
he'd be?
and then yet he still had 32. I mean, what all did you try to do to kind of slow him down?
No, I mean he got open for some threes. He got in the post and scored. He drove us one time and scored with his left. He, I believe, got an offensive rebound in the first half on a missed layup and scored a 3-point play. So he got a lot of easy baskets, and then he just expanded out further and further, and hand in his face or not, he was in a ridiculous rhythm. It's stunning to see, how teams shoot, and they are a very good shooting team, but they were, I believe, 9 for 17 in the first half. So they were on pace to do something crazy. They ended up 12 for 30, so we did guard the line, I guess, a little better, but by then it was too late. And we were astonishing as well, at 0 for 17 at one point. It's hard, to shoot that way, even if you got a blindfold on, to shoot that number. So we have to do better with, connecting on open shots.
Rob Edwards seemed like he was off from the start. How much did that hurt the team? Because you don't have Tayshaun, and Rob kind of had trouble getting going in the first half, so now your best shooters are either unavailable or having trouble.
Yeah, I mean, he's got to do some soul searching and figure it out, and get a little more aggression, a little angrier, but it wasn't Rob. Rob was just one of a bunch of guys in that game that just the perfect storm of just everyone, coaches, players, crowd, everything. It's just really bad.
Did you have an emphasis on just getting shots up? Any guys come in early to shoot around or stay late after practice just to get shots up?
Today?
Yeah.
I mean, look, after tomorrow's game, you could ask that question. I'd rather keep that, between myself and the players right now about shooting and what we did to address that today.
Did you sleep last night?
Did I? A little bit, yeah. It was tough. It wasn't easy. The harder part is waking up than going to sleep, because then you got to wake up with the reality.
Is there a risk that when you bear the burden of constantly getting them to the level that you feel like they need to be emotionally, that is just hard to sustain, or that there's an expectation that has to be there, otherwise they're going to slip up? Do you think about that?
I just have the times you have to be more resilient is when you're going well, and that's when things creep in that shouldn't creep in to what you're doing, and so I have to be more alert, more aware, and even tougher on the team when we're going well. And that was probably my biggest fault in the preparation, was that I was not tough enough with them leading into the game, and I didn't create an edge that teams need when they're winning. They need it more when they're winning sometimes than they do when they've lost a couple of games and they desperately need to win. And I didn't do my job to find that desperation that we needed last night. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.